Imagine learning tennis on courts where you had to stop practice when gangs started shooting. Imagine being booed by crowds who didn't want you there because of your skin color. Now imagine winning 23 Grand Slam titles and becoming the greatest female athlete in history. This is the story of Serena Williams, and what you're about to hear will redefine what you think is possible. Serena Jamaica Williams was born on September 26, 1981 in Saginaw, Michigan. She was the youngest of 5 girls. Her father, Richard Williams, was a former sharecropper from Louisiana who had big dreams. Her mother, Horace Price, was strong and supportive. When Serena was a baby, her family moved to Compton, California. Compton in the early 1980s was one of the most dangerous cities in America. Gang violence, drug dealing, shootings, poverty. It was a place where dreams went to die. But Richard Williams had a plan. Before Serena and her sister Venus were even born, Richard had written a 78-page plan for how he would train his daughters to become tennis champions. People thought he was crazy. Tennis was a rich white person sport. It was played at country clubs by people wearing expensive clothes. Black kids from Compton didn't play tennis. They played basketball or football. But Richard didn't care what people thought. He had a vision. When Serena was 3 years old, Richard took her and Venus to the public tennis courts in Compton. The courts were cracked. The nets were broken. There was graffiti on the walls. Gang members hung around smoking and dealing drugs. But it was free, and that's all Richard could afford. Every single day, Richard would take his daughters to those courts and train them. He taught himself tennis by watching videos and reading books. He wasn't a professional coach. He was a determined father. Young Serena would practice for hours, hitting balls, running drills, learning technique. Sometimes they would have to stop practice because gangs started fighting nearby. Sometimes they would hear gunshots and have to lie on the ground. One day, while they were practicing, gang members approached Richard. They said, "Old man, what are you doing here with these girls? This is our territory." Richard stood tall and said, "I'm training my daughters. They're going to be champions one day." The gang members laughed. One said, "Champions? In tennis? These black girls?" Richard looked them in the eye and said, "Yes, watch." Something about Richard's confidence made them respect him. From that day on, the gang members actually protected Richard and his daughters while they practiced. They would make sure no one bothered them. Young Serena was shy but fierce. She was smaller than Venus, but she hit the ball harder. She was more aggressive. She hated losing even in practice. Richard noticed. He told Serena, "You have a warrior spirit. That's your power." When Serena was 9 years old, Richard moved the family to Florida so the girls could train at a professional tennis academy. It was a huge sacrifice. The family barely had money, but Richard believed. At the academy, Serena and Venus were the only black students. The other kids were from wealthy families. They had expensive equipment. They had private coaches. They looked down on the Williams sisters. One white girl said to Serena, "You don't belong here. Go back to Compton." Serena felt hurt, but she didn't cry. She got angry, and she used that anger to train harder. The coaches at the academy were tough on Serena and Venus. Some were racist. They would give the best court times to white students. They would ignore Serena when she asked for help. But Richard told his daughters, "Don't let them break you. Use their hate as fuel." By age 14, Serena turned professional. She was ready to compete against the best players in the world. But the tennis world was not ready for Serena. She was black, she was muscular, she had beads in her hair. She didn't fit the image of what a tennis player was supposed to look like. At tournaments, crowds would boo her. Commentators would make racist comments about her body. They said she looked like a man. They said she was too aggressive. They said she was angry. One tournament in Indian Wells, California, in 2001 was particularly brutal. Serena was 19 years old. As she walked onto the court, the crowd booed loudly. People yelled racist slurs. Her father, Richard, who was in the crowd, was called racial slurs too. Serena was devastated. She cried after the match. She said, "I felt like I was back in the days when black people were not allowed in certain places." She boycotted Indian Wells for 14 years. She refused to play there because of the racism, but Serena didn't let racism stop her. She used it as motivation. She trained harder, she became stronger, she became better. In 2002, at age 20, Serena won her first Wimbledon championship. She beat her sister Venus in the final. It was emotional. Two black girls from Compton playing in the Wimbledon final. After the match, Serena and Venus hugged at the net. They cried together. They had done what everyone said was impossible. From that moment, Serena dominated women's tennis. She won the US Open. She won the Australian Open. She won the French Open. She won Wimbledon again and again. By 2003, Serena had won all 4 Grand Slam tournaments in 1 year. It's called the Serena Slam. Only a few players in history have done it. But Serena's career was not easy. She faced injuries. She faced health scares. In 2011, she suffered a pulmonary embolism, a blood clot in her lung. Doctors said she was lucky to be alive. Serena fought back. She recovered. She came back stronger. In 2017, Serena won the Australian Open while she was 8 weeks pregnant. She didn't know she was pregnant at the time. When she found out later, people were shocked. She had won a Grand Slam while carrying a baby. 9 months later, Serena gave birth to her daughter Olympia. But the birth was traumatic. Serena almost died from complications. She had to have an emergency C-section. She suffered from blood clots again. But Serena is a fighter. She survived, she recovered, and in 2018, just 10 months after giving birth, she was back on the tennis court competing. She reached the Wimbledon final and the US Open final. She didn't win, but just being there after almost dying in childbirth was incredible. Today, Serena Williams has won 23 Grand Slam singles titles. That's more than any other player in the Open era except Margaret Court. She's won 14 Grand Slam doubles titles with Venus. She's won 4 Olympic gold medals. Serena is not just a tennis player. She's a cultural icon. She's a fashion designer with her own clothing line. She's a businesswoman with investments in over 60 companies. She's a venture capitalist focusing on companies founded by women and minorities. Serena uses her platform to fight for equality. She speaks about racism in tennis. She advocates for equal pay for women athletes. She supports young black girls in sports. In 2022, Serena announced her retirement from professional tennis. In her last tournament, the US Open, she received a standing ovation that lasted several minutes. The entire stadium, including celebrities and former presidents, stood and cheered for her. Serena cried. She waved. She had given tennis everything, and tennis finally gave her the respect she always deserved. But Serena's legacy is not just her wins, it's what she represents. She showed that black girls from the hood can dominate a sport created for rich white people. She showed that you don't have to fit the traditional image to be the greatest. She showed that motherhood doesn't end athletic careers. When young black girls pick up tennis rackets today, they do it because Serena showed them it's possible. Serena Williams' story teaches us powerful lessons. First, your environment doesn't determine your destiny. Serena trained on broken courts in Compton and conquered Wimbledon. Second, use hate as fuel. Racism tried to stop Serena but made her stronger. Third, redefine the standard. Serena changed what a female athlete looks like. Fourth, dominance silences doubt. Serena won so much that critics had to respect her. Fifth, your story inspires the next generation. Millions of girls now play tennis because of Serena. From dodging bullets on Compton tennis courts to holding 23 Grand Slam trophies. From being booed by racist crowds to receiving standing ovations worldwide. Serena Williams proved that greatness doesn't ask for permission. Black excellence cannot be denied, and queens are not born. They are made through blood, sweat, and tears. So, what did you learn from Serena Williams' story? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this story inspired you, hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible African success stories. Next week, we're bringing you the story of Barack Obama, the son of a Kenyan immigrant who grew up confused about his identity and became the first black president of the United States. You don't want to miss it. Thank you for watching, and remember, they will doubt you, they will hate you, they will try to stop you. But if you're great enough, they'll have no choice but to bow down.